Hi, my name's Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Today I want to talk about banning bow hunting. You're thinking, what are you talking about? Bow hunting is allowed everywhere. Well, not in this state. So let's just go into a bit of background. So in this state, South Australia, you can only hunt on your own land. Okay? So we're talking state forests, other sorts of forests you're not allowed to hunt in. So that's out. So this is the government telling you what you can do on your own property. And they're trying to ban bow hunting. So last year, the RSPCA put up a proposal to look at banning bow hunting and to basically look at hunting in general. Okay, so they came up and they asked for submissions, and you submitted submissions. So I think there was about 50 submissions submitted, of which I was one of the people to lodge a submission. And then lots of people from the other side, the animal rights side, put in submissions saying how cruel it was and how inhumane it was, and this should be stopped. Okay. So now I'm going to say the bow hunting groups also put in things to say that this is all good. Animals don't get hurt when they're shot with an arrow. It's just, this is all good. Okay, so that's where we're up to. Now, the committee rejected the 12 recommendations made. However, Labor, that's the left side of politics here, who's in power now, went to the election and said, if we get in, we're going to ban bow hunting and 2 other forms of hunting in this state, and that's with guns. So one was duck and one was something else. Now, the gun lobby put up that you should vote for the left. Okay, so I'm going to put that in their thing. They said you should vote for the left, even though they had this up to ban, right? So that's just the way politics is. So we're up right now. The Deputy Premier of the state is pushing this. Her name's Susan Close. She's pushing this really hard. And today the RSPCA on their website, on their Facebook site, put up a big post about banning bow hunting. And it said, I'm going to put up the picture of the post. It said, archery is inaccurate. Inaccurate, and animals are in lots of pain and they die slowly through blood loss with lots of pain. And I was like, that doesn't sound very good. It sounds pretty horrible to me. And then there was posts from people. Obviously people put in there and they said, yes, this should be outlawed years ago. What is this barbaric practice of shooting things with bows and arrows? This is crazy. Okay. So I'm going to backtrack how this started. A guy shot his neighbour's cat with an arrow. Not a hunting arrow, just a normal arrow. Because he was pissed off that the neighbour's cat kept coming in his yard. So what it is, he could have chosen to grab this cat and break its neck. He could have chosen different ways to dispose of this cat. But he was annoyed and he asked the neighbour to keep the cat in their backyard, and they refused. And hence the cat gets shot with an arrow. Cat goes back to the neighbour's house with an arrow in it. Hi, look what I've got inside me. And then it makes national news. Guy in the country shoots a cat with an arrow. Makes national news. For some reason, when anything's shot with an arrow, it makes national news because an arrow in something looks pretty gruesome. It's very hard to show a bullet stuck in something or a hole stuck in something. But that's the way it is. It looks shocking. That's what news is about, creating shock. Anyway, then there's another person who shoots a possum in his roof with a crossbow. Not a hunting crossbow, just a crappy crossbow with a normal target crossbow arrow. So that's what the RSPCA go with, the cat and the possum. Now, I'm going to say the guy who shot the neighbour's cat went to court. I don't know what the outcome of that was, but he went to court for some reason. And something, I assume, happened to the guy with the possum because he wouldn't have had a registration for the crossbow. And I assume something happened with that. So there's already things in place to control this. But it's not really, they're not bow hunters and it's not bow hunting, but that's what we're going to attack. We're going to attack bow hunting. And in fact, they wanted to push this further. They wanted to push archery in general and that you need your names on arrows and that sort of stuff. That's where they were going and that's where they pushed. In fact, the Deputy Premier was pushing this straight outright. So she asked the police department, how many cases have there been where bows and arrows bad things have happened? I couldn't think of any. How many acts of cruelty have there been with bow hunting? How many complaints have we had? The answer was none. None. Zero. Zero. So we've got no one being injured in a sport. And whether you call bow hunting a sport or what, it's like no one's been injured. And there seems to be no complaints. But it doesn't sound good to shoot an animal. Okay? Because that sounds pretty bad. So I want to talk about that. Now the first thing that the RSPCA claims is you're pretty inaccurate with a bow and arrow. Of which I responded, at 20 metres I can hit a 5-cent coin about 99% of the time. Inaccurate? Look, I've shot a gun and I don't shoot guns very well. I shoot bows much better. So that's just the way I view it. And there's probably guns I can shoot better than a bow, but I don't know of them. I don't know much about guns, right? But that's it's the way it is, right? So for me, bow hunting, like close distance, I can pretty much hit a target the size of a knock. Okay, so that's our first claim. Now the pain, that these animals are in severe pain. I have never met, and I've been selling archery gear for 40 years, I've never met anyone who wants to see an animal in pain. Ever. Ever. Never. Ever have I seen someone who wants to see an animal in pain. In fact, most bow hunters I know are basically conservatives and they're greenies and they're very environmentally aware and they're very healthy individuals. They keep fit. They like walking the bush for days and trying to get close to the animal and trying to get close enough to slap the thing on the butt. That's what they are. These are people who like being out in nature. It's what bow hunting's about, trying to get close. It's trying to wait for that right moment. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, Stephen, you're not a bow hunter, so what are you talking about this for? Because there's no bow hunters getting up there and defending themselves. There's thousands and thousands of bow hunters. And when they asked for a submission before the government, I think it was like 30 people put in submissions, 30 out of thousands. I have 40,000 customers. 30. All these other shops, no one put in a submission. And then this goes up on the website today. So, these people going, this is bad, right? This is bad. Bad to kill animals. I agree. It's bad. I'd be a vegetarian if I could. I like meat. So, just on that point. So I put up, what do you want to do with these feral animals? Do you want to poison them? Have you seen animals poisoned? It's horrific. The pain and torture they go through, it's terrible. It's terrible. You wouldn't wish that on your worst mate. You wouldn't wish it on anybody. I don't think you'd wish that on, Mr. Hitler on the side there. I don't think you'd wish that on him. It's terrible. Poisoning is horrible. It's a horrible way to die. And then to make it worse, when the animal's dying of poison, and the other animals come down to take some of that carcass, it's poisoned. So they die. Horrible. Is this what we want? Is this what the RSPCA want? Is this what Mrs. Close, the Labor Party, want? Do they want animals to be poisoned? Now we're going to talk just a smidge about poison while we're here. So foxes, we poison foxes. We put this little bit of bait in the soil because, you've got to control feral animals, right? It's your responsibility. You get fined if you don't. It's the way life is, right? The government comes along and slaps you with a $10,000 fine if they find feral animals on your property. Okay? Anyway, you put this little bit of poison under the ground and the fox comes, digs it up and eats it, dies. What happens if your pet comes past? What happens if you're walking your dog in the native park and it's like, oh, something smells good over there, and you're not watching and it eats some of this stuff, it dies painfully. Is that what you want? I hate poisons. Not for it, right? Some people are, some people aren't. I'm not for poisons. Then I'm going to talk about guns. Now, a lot of bow hunters like guns and a lot of people like guns, and they think it's a good way to kill things. That's cool. I'm just going to talk about my experience with guns. I'm a terrible shot. I don't enjoy shooting guns. Never have. Don't enjoy it. I enjoy shooting bows. It's like you're under tension, you release the shot, feels good, you see the arrow fly, it feels good, it's a positive thing, it feels good. To become a bow hunter, you've got to get close to the animal, you've got to learn to shoot. It takes a long time, you've got to build your strength, you've got to build form, you practice. Gun, point, shoot. It was never a thing for me, guns. I didn't enjoy it, right? Anyway, as a kid, this could be one of the reasons I don't like guns. As a kid, my dog gets shot. It's a red collie. It's a cattle dog. Beautiful dog. Neighbour shoots it from about 400 or 500 metres, puts about 4 or 5 bullets into it. And you talk to me about humane, you talk to me about pain, and you talk to me about quick shots. Look, it would have been a quick shot if you hit the dog in the head. Maybe. But the way an animal dies through bow hunting, and I'm preaching to the converted probably, is it through blood loss. Most times they don't even know they've been hit. So where do they get this concept of the animal dies in pain? I don't know. Most times they don't even know they've been shot. That's why a lot of people like bow hunting. With a gun, it's through an impact, as I understand. So it hits and it blows out the back of them. You're in pain. Now, argument would be made to that, if you're a kangaroo shooter, you shoot the kangaroo in the head. How many kangaroos are shot in the head? How many kangaroos are wounded through gunshots? Oh, look, I don't know the answer. But to say, look, this is inhumane and this is humane, there's been no studies done to say bow hunting is inhumane, to the best of my knowledge. In fact, there's been many studies done to say it's actually the other way around. Bow hunting is well controlled in America. They have very good environmental practices in America. Why we don't follow some of those here is a question I'd like to see raised. Now, just on that topic, how do we choose to monitor our feral animals in Australia? We choose to fly a helicopter over the forest and gun them down from whatever distance. Gunning down deer, and we leave them there in the forest. I don't know how many deer are wounded. Hard to say, because I figured they'd be running when they hear the gunshots go off. When they hear the helicopter fly over, the deers will be scattering. Look, to me, it just doesn't sound good. It doesn't. I don't mind the idea of a guy going out in the bush, trying to get close to the deer, getting within 10 metres, shooting the shot, making a good shot because he practiced hard for months and months for that shot. Hits the deer in the right spot. Deer falls, deer dies. They harvest the skin, they harvest the horns, they harvest the meat. Now, a lot of bow hunters tell me that the meat is far superior from bow hunting than through a butcher. They say that an animal butchered goes through lots of stress and the meat becomes tough. That's what I get told. This is why they like bow hunting. Now I'm going to go through my own experience with bow hunting. Not that it matters, because most bow hunters will say you're not a bow hunter, you're a target archer, but that's okay. So, I'm going to tell you, the first time I went bow hunting was with my dad. We go up to Yunta, country town, in the middle of nowhere for goats. And there are goats everywhere through this property. Back then they didn't herd goats, they were just a pest, right? Hundreds of goats. So Dad takes me hunting with a few other friends, and it's like a camping trip for the weekend. I don't think we shot anything, right? That's the way hunting was. We didn't get a shot. That's the way most bow hunting goes on the weekends. Anyway, it was a camping boys' weekend away. Our Dad didn't drink. There was no drinking. It was like getting out in the bush and trying to see how close you can get. That was bow hunting. Anyway, one time I'm in Canberra, so just out of Canberra, in a town called Mikalago. And I'm on a property for pigs. And I'm walking in the bush. It's a relatively hot day. This is a few years ago. When I say a few years ago, like I'm much younger. So probably 20 years ago, I'm hunting. Didn't see a thing. You could see lots of signs of pigs, like rubbing the trees, tearing down the fences. The pigs destroy the place, right? But this farmer lets you on there being a bow hunter because you're not going to destroy much. You're not going to shoot anything. And if you do shoot something, there's an arrow in it, so he knows you shot it. so it's completely trackable. Right, so I'm on this property, I'm walking up over the ridge, and a herd of 50 pigs, single file, come trotting straight past me. Big pigs, little pigs, baby pigs, all different sizes of pigs, straight past. And I'm talking at full trot, within 1 metre of me, didn't see me. I don't know what to do. I'm like, what do I do? Do I shoot these pigs that are running past me? So I'm standing there like a stuffed mullet. Didn't have any idea what to do with these pigs running past me. Anyway, the last pigs are little piglets, chasing them up. I'm like, what do I do? So like, the pig's gone, right? They're off down the bottom and I'm on top of this hill. I'm like, they didn't see me. Literally ran right next to me. Part of me was my heart beating, going, am I going to get attacked by the big boar? But I went straight past, still panicking that there's going to be another boar to rip me apart. That's okay. Anyway, they go down the bottom of this plains and there's grass down there. It's flat. And that's where they go and they start to eat. All right. So I'm like, I'm still standing on top of the hill, a bit stunned. So I'm like, oh, well, I'll just wander down there behind a tree, 20 meters away. Right. Okay, what am I going to shoot? Am I going to shoot a boar? Now with the boar, you can't really eat the meat. And I know some Germans eat boar meat because we export wild boar to Germany. But in Australia, it's not a done thing. So it's like, well, I'll shoot a girl. I'll shoot the girl. So part of me was saying, shoot the piglet, and that way you could have a spit roast. But I was like, for my first kill, I can't shoot a piglet because that would be like, I would never hear the end of it. So I pick a decent sized pig, and it's on the side, so it's perfectly lined up, about 18 meters away. So the distance I do in my reviews, 18 meters. All the stuff on my bow. Back then I wasn't like a $30 sight. I had all the stuff. I was a pretty decent archer, right? So I'm like, right, I can do this. And part of me is like, do I shoot this thing in the head? Because I can shoot the thing through the eyeball at this distance, right? And they're just all the pigs are grazing. No one see me. But all the things I've done on bow hunting, you shoot them through the thing here, right? So down behind the leg. So I aim it up. Poof. Nothing. Completely nothing. Not a pig moved. Nothing. It was like I never made the shot. Nothing. I'm like, I missed. How in the heck did I miss? Was it 40 meters and I shot under the pig? What happened? And I'm like, so I'm sitting there completely buggered. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm here by myself. I don't know how to butcher the pig because, Dad's elsewhere. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. Anyway, it's all right. I'm growing up. I'm a man trying to gain my manhood. And so I'm standing there behind the bush, and the pigs have wandered on. So they've moved on. It's a big paddock, and they're starting at the front, and they're just walking pace, just eating the whole pack of them. The piglets, the big boars at the front. And they're just eating and walking as they go. Heads down, eating the grass. What do I do? Do I take another shot? Because the pigs have now gone out of when I say out of my range, they were now more side on to me. So not good shots now. Not like the first shot, which was just perfect, right? Anyway, about 1 minute in, this pig the pig I shot goes, "Arr!" I'm like, what? I'm like, what? Anyway, he goes, "Arr!" I'm like, that's weird. Then he goes back down to eating. All the pigs are eating. Anyway, about another minute, drops dead. Just falls over. And all the other pigs continue eating and wander off. That was it. And I'm like, that's weird. It's like, that's weird. So I go down there. I go down on the plains. The pigs are off now. They're about 100 meters away. And I go down there and my arrow is on the bank behind the pigs, like 50 meters behind where I shot the pig. And it's covered in blood. So I had a surgical, I shot a nap thunderhead, so razor blades on the front, basically. Expensive broadhead, which most people wouldn't know, but it was an expensive broadhead. Carbon arrow, straight through, covered in blood. And where I shot the pig, There wasn't much blood at the start, but then the blood increased as it continued to eat. So you can see the blood until the pig dropped. And that was it. That was my experience with bow hunting. I was like, so when they say it's what, painful, severe, inaccurate, like that's not my experience. No one's come in and said that to me. I've never really seen that before. I mean, I've heard of, animals running, definitely on the noise of the bow, but then they'll generally settle down. They'll generally settle down and start grazing again once they believe all the threat's gone. Most times I'd say they don't even know they've been struck. Now, that's my experience. I don't know where the RSPCA gets their statistics from or their ideas from. Because it doesn't seem to be from the bow hunting groups. You might say, well, you can't go to the bow hunters to get their opinions on this. You've got to go to someone else. Well, maybe someone should come out with the bow hunter and experience it. There's plenty of videos on this. Plenty of videos, and there's plenty of vets who shoot. So there's plenty of vets who shoot, and they would know if an animal's in pain. I'm just saying. Now, the other thing is, I'm going to talk about when an animal's struck with an arrow, generally passed through, it's generally a surgical cut. So if it was a bad shot, which is what the RSPCA is suggesting, it will generally heal up. So my mum owns a property. You're not allowed to shoot anything on mum's property. You're not allowed to shoot any animals, nothing, right? So there's no shooting animals. Anyway, so you sign a thing to say you understand you are not to shoot any animals of any kind on this property, okay? So this one day she has 5 people up on her property. And this one person is, you're meant to stay on tracks where you shoot, right? So you're meant to stay on tracks. So this one day, this one person's off the tracks and they're in places where they're not meant to be, where there's no targets. They're wandering around. So they say to them, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm just like looking, I got a bit lost. Okay, well, you've got to stay on the paths, right? That's where you shoot. Okay, so that lady, she was a bit lost. After the 5 people left, Mum finds a kangaroo with an arrow in it. Okay? Had the lady's arrow in it. The lady who was wandering where she wasn't meant to be wandering. It's a target arrow. Not a hunting arrow. Target arrow stuck in the kangaroo. It's illegal to shoot kangaroos with a bow and arrow unless you're Aboriginal. She wasn't Aboriginal. Arrow's 24 inches long. So a short arrow. All the other people shooting on that day, the other 4 or 5 people, were all men, so they couldn't shoot that arrow out of their bows. So there's only one person who could shoot that arrow. So Mum was like, okay, I'm going to keep this arrow. Next time the person comes back, I'm going to question them on it. Took her a year to come back to Mum's place. A year. She stayed away for a year. Comes back, she's a lawyer. Okay, I'm going to put this out. She's a lawyer. So she comes back and Mum remembers her. Right? Mum's 72 years old. Mum remembers her. This is how impactful it was on my mum, because she had to pull the arrow out of the kangaroo. Kangaroo lived. So the lady comes up. Mum's like, got your arrow here. Oh, she goes, oh, thanks. She goes, it was found in a kangaroo the day you were up here. Oh, it wasn't me. I lost an arrow, so someone else must have shot it. Mum goes, well, no one else could have, because the arrow was too short to be shot by the other people who were here. She goes, well, I didn't shoot it. You can't prove it. You can't prove anything. I'm a lawyer. You can't prove it. It's probably true. Probably can't prove. You can't prove who shot that arrow. So even though there's laws in place to stop this, it actually happened. And she was a lawyer. And she's like, well, what are you going to do to me? It's like, guess what? You're never coming back to this property ever again. So you're never coming back ever again. You're never going to be shooting a bow on this property again, because of what happened. Now, we could have reported to police a year after. I'm not sure what would have happened. Probably nothing. Bet she would have dropped a bad review on us, because that's what people do who do the wrong things. They drop bad reviews on you. Anyway, she doesn't shoot anymore. That was her finished. But my point is, by banning bow hunting, Are you going to stop it? It occurs on private property. Most of my customers have large farms and they bow hunt because they like bow hunting. A lot of the ladies who bow hunt because they don't like guns. They don't like poisons. Because I ask, I'm like, oh, why are you bow hunting? Because I don't like guns. I've got foxes. I've got to get rid of them. This is a solution for me. I whistle them up. I shoot the fox. Okay. I'm like, you're going to ban bow hunting? How many people are we talking about here that you're affecting? Anyway, so on this group today, I make comments. I post a picture of a dog being poisoned. So one of the ladies says, well, I should have banned bow hunting. So I make a comment. I'm like, how do you want to do it? Poison, shoot out guns? And she said, I never thought about it. And I appreciate the fact that she responded to me, because she could have just ignored me like the other girls who commented. And I responded to them. I was like, well, how do you want me to buy a gun? Do you want me to poison? What do you want me to do with the feral animals? What do you want me to do? Tell me. She said, I didn't ever think of it, but now you think about it, it makes sense. Okay. So you don't want to poison the animals, because that's terrible. That's a horrible outcome. You don't want to do that. And do you like the idea of shooting things out of a helicopter? Do you like the idea of the government flying over your property, shooting into your property? Is that what you like? If you do, you should say it. And then we could have that debate. Because this is what we're talking about. We're having a debate about how you kill things. You could have a debate about whether it's safe, better to have animals killed in an abattoir or done in the bush. In fact, one person on here made that comment. They said the abattoir, the animals who works in the abattoir, it's, very stressful for them. But what struck me, because when I first started making these comments, I'm like, I'm going to get under attack. I'm going to get absolutely hammered by people. And I'm running for mayor at the moment. I'm like, this is the end of my mayor campaign right here. And so there was about 3 or 4 people who commented who didn't like bow hunting. That was it for the day. 4. So are you telling me all these animal liberationists who don't like bow hunting amounted to 4 people? 4. Now, what annoys me a little bit is no bow hunters got on there and said, look, I hunt. This is what I do. And I hunt for meat. I hunt for the leather. And it's not cruel. The animal dies very quickly. And most times they don't know they've been hit. They didn't have that conversation. Now, if you're a bow hunter, you should get on there, get onto the site, and tell the people what it's like. I shoot deer. I shoot feral pigs. I shoot buffalo. This is how long they take to die. This is how accurate I am. I generally shoot them within 5 meters. I remember I had one customer who liked to get up really close to the animal. He liked to smack it on the bum. It wasn't really about making the shot. It was just about getting close to the animal. I had one customer, I'm going to say a good friend, up in Darwin, who used to hunt with no shoes on. And I've got many Aboriginal friends who hunt with bows and arrows. I don't know if they're banning them for Aboriginals, because Aboriginals have a different set of rules, because that hasn't been spelled out yet. But this is what's up. But if you don't get up, if you don't have your say, if you don't join political parties, if you don't join government, if you don't get involved in this debate, you're going to lose bow hunting. You lose bow hunting, you lose gun hunting, you lose fishing. Because if they take away bow hunting, they'll take away fishing. Because it's exactly the same argument. Why are you out there fishing? Because it's cruel. It's cruel to pull a fish out the ocean. Well, how's that different than commercial fishing? Well, it's just different. Okay. Anyway, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. I'd really appreciate it if you go on there and make constructive remarks to this Facebook post and tell your side of the story. Tell people, like, I've hunted, I shoot lots of stuff. A lot of my friends in America don't buy meat. They just literally hunt. They hunt and they store it in the freezer and they have all the different meals. They make sausages, they make they make metwurst, they make up a whole bunch of stuff. If you get in there and say, look, this is a resource, we use it, it was put here for gods, by the gods for us. If you don't tell people the way it is, it becomes emotional. It becomes emotional and it becomes like we're here to hurt things. No one wants to hurt things. Never met a person who wants to hurt anything. Anyway, I'm Stephen Han. The link to the Facebook page will be below. And I appreciate it if you could make a comment. Thank you.